Good evening, everyone. Well, it's an absolute pleasure to be with you. I too would like to acknowledge that we're meeting on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation and pay my deep respects to elders past, present and emerging. It indeed is wonderful to be celebrating the Colours of the World Festival with you all here tonight. It's my first one, and thank you to AIS and Ceres College for bringing this together. I had a very interesting conversation with a friend of mine actually today that I thought I'd relay with you. He had recently spent some time in Singapore, envisaged that he would actually work there for a couple of years. So he'd done a migration later in his adult life, and he's come back, and we were talking about what his experience was like migrating as an adult, having been born and brought up in Australia. And he was talking about the nuances that are not often thought about or talked about, the people, the home comforts, the food, the tradition, the cultures, all those things you miss when you leave your home of origin. And on nights like this, I often think about the people who came here first, the waves of migrants who paved the way for generations of migrants like my family and myself who came here afterwards. We benefited from all the work they did. And he was saying, you know, we're lucky now, you move to another country, we have FaceTime, we have Skype, we have too many ways to message each other, we're constantly in contact with each other. But imagine that time when you potentially took off on a boat, sailed to the other side of the world like the waves of Greek and Italian migrants who came here through the 90s and 50s and 60s, and you had very little connection with home, often not seeing family and friends for years, if not decades. Those waves of migrants faced a lot more discrimination than people like I did when we arrived here. They had to create a multicultural fabric in Australia, one that we benefit so much from here today. So in thinking about them, I want to thank organisations like AIS particularly for the work you do in creating spaces for people to experience their cultures of origin, a relief from all that work of settlement you do when you come here as a migrant, but also creating the spaces for different cultures to get to know each other. Because there are actually very few spaces when you are doing that exchange of cultures across cultures, not just with your host culture. So I'm deeply appreciative of the work of AIS. I know Ceres College does exemplary work, and it's been a true pleasure to be part of your work over the last few years as well. The iftar dinners bringing different parts of the community together, and today is another demonstration of the deep commitment you have to strengthening our multiculturalism further, but most importantly, supporting all the different people who journeyed here trying to make a peaceful and safe life for themselves. Thank you for the work that you do for them. I'm eternally grateful. Thanks everyone, have a great night.